Now the clerk is about to get here, and then we'll start the meeting.
Mayor,
Yes?
would you please be so kind as to state to the public why we're starting late? Because we had to wait for Pat to get
Okay.
going. It wasn't because we are late.
Yeah.
Because we were
It
all
wasn't because of us. It's on you.
It's on you?
Yes, sir.
I don't want the public to think that we're late because we're
Yeah.
35 minutes late. Everybody was here.
Does everybody have their mask on? Oh,
Well, we're 6 feet apart.
For social distancing, Mr. Hanesian.
I would suggest 14 feet apart.
Some of you can be out in the lobby then.
Protects the private.
Put it on the mic. Okay. Members of the City Council and all of you that are watching, sorry that we started a little late, but we were waiting for the person that's helping us with the budget, and she's with us now, and so we're going to get started, and hopefully we can get this tentative budget completed today. Thank you, Councilman, Councilwoman, everybody. We ready, John?
Yes, we're ready. And could I just ask to make sure that everybody turns on their mic so the two people that are watching us on YouTube can hear us? Turn on your mic, please. And Mr. Mayor, we put off our capital project for today at 2 o'clock. And you also asked us to look at the vacant position.
Yes.
We have schedules on both of those that we can go over.
Okay.
I want to apologize a little bit for being late. I think Pat was at, what was the name of the city, Pat, that you were at? Litchfield Park, doing a presentation in front of their mayor and council. Got stuck a little bit in that I-10 traffic that's famous for Phoenix, so as soon as she got home, she jumped on and she's ready to join us. Just something before we forget, on Tuesday, we have scheduled a meeting. We didn't schedule a time for the Tuesday meeting to pass the tentative budget. So we need to prepare the agenda for that and the order and the schedules that will be published in the paper after the tentative budget. So maybe that's one thing we can have a discussion up front, Mayor.
Yes.
So we can schedule our time for
Members of the
Tuesday.
City Council, what time would you like the meeting?
The time?
Early in the morning?
No, morning is hard because I'm doing that work at the Citizens at Senior
You wanna
Center.
do
But
it
2 o'clock, right
2
now,
o'clock?
2 o'clock is a good time.
Councilman?
For me.
Vice Mayor, 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
Everybody, 2 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay, John, 2 o'clock?
So that's
2 o'clock then, 30 on Tuesday.
Tuesday?
You want the commander? They am and
Oh,
Esther?
Esther?
Excuse me?
So, Mr. Mayor, having that said 2 o'clock, I think we're ready to dive into, to assist you guys to make some decisions on our capital and our current vacancies. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Pat. I gave every member of the council a copy of the presentation that we're using today. It's 2 small sheets. One's labeled, what is it, capital and other project requests. Should look like this sheet on the screen, and then the other sheet that I handed out to everybody to look at is
Vacancy.
the vacancy sheet. Having that said, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to turn it over to Pat. Pat, if you're ready and you can hear us,
Yes.
we can start on this. I have both documents, the capital and the vacancies up on the different screen here that you can refer to at any time. Just let me know which one we're talking about first so we can go to that.
Okay, I would like to share the PowerPoint slide of the general fund balance, so if you could share it on your end, John, then they can see it, like you did yesterday.
We just went off the one you shared.
Oh, it's up there, the general fund balance, it's up there?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna share that.
Yeah. Is it on the screen?
No, not yet.
Okay.
So if I remember with Jose, you click on those top little three buttons on the top right, and then click share a screen, and you have to have it up and running on your computer, and it'll pop right up.
Yeah, yes, if it's just the application version.
Sharing it?
Not yet, Pat.
Sharon, I emailed it to you.
If you do, I can bring it up very quickly. You email it to
Okay,
me.
let me do that then.
Okay.
Yeah, just send it to you.
Got it, Pat. I'll bring it. I'll open it in a few seconds here. Bear with me, Pat. This computer that they have in here won't open up a PowerPoint, so I'm gonna have to save it and put it onto the computer. Give me a sec.
Mayor,
Yes.
so we don't waste time, can we just go over the things that I requested? It has nothing to do with them anyway.
On
The funding for the
for
two.
capital,
Yeah,
yeah.
can we just have a discussion on that?
Yes, yes, why not?
I asked that 4 items be placed on here for funding, and they're located on other budget requests. There, it's under the Port Authority, 50,000, the Chamber of Commerce, 50,000, AYSO, our youth soccer for 10,000, to be used only for CDC COVID protocols, just for that. The same thing for the Nogales Little League, $10,000 to be used for CDC COVID protocols, to make sure that our youth are safe while we're making this transition into the playing fields now. So, I brought up the Port Authority Chamber. I'd like to deal with the Port Authority, Mayor, and the Chamber of Commerce. We've dealt with them with a contractual basis. They have to perform accordingly, and I was made aware of some statements that were made by some Port Authority members to the mayor, and I would like for the mayor, because they were very disturbing to me, and I would like for the mayor to address it, because if the mayor addresses it, then I will probably withdraw my request. So if you would please.
Yes, I had a conversation with Councilman Varona that last year, two members of the Port Authority, I will not mention their names, two members of the Port Authority, I went to a meeting that I was invited by another person, and those two people were there. And when I got there, they were going to discuss, they wanted to discuss the $50,000 and other issues, and I questioned it because I was a little uncomfortable, because I was invited to a meeting and without knowing what it was all about. And when I asked what was the problem about the $50,000 that was not awarded to them, the words that were what they told me, both of them, said that they didn't need the $50,000. We don't need the $50,000. What we need is a seat from somebody, either you or the vice mayor or somebody from the city of Nogales, on the table at the port. And I said, well, that you have, you'll always have. We're a team, we're partners, and there's no problem with that. And they said, that's all we want, Mayor. We don't need the $50,000. So I explained it to Councilman Varona, because he wasn't aware of that, because I was going to mention this to you anyway, because I wasn't going to support funding the Port Authority, and so he knows exactly what happened. I told him who the people were. I won't mention their names, but that's what was told to me by them. So, just for your information, they just want that for us to be part of the Port Authority and to help them out in whatever they need to in their endeavors, whatever they need to do, and vice versa. We both work together on that. So, and I also told them that I would not support the chamber. I will not support the chamber. I think the chamber needs to go by what the people that they supposed to help, and the members, which we are members. I think we pay $6,500 a year or something like that in membership, and I think they can do with that, and I have other reasons why, but I really don't want to speak about that right now. But I think we should. That's the way I feel. Now, in reference to the AYSO and the Little League, I'll support that. I'll support that for one reason, is that it's in regards to the COVID, like it was mentioned, and they'll be able to come back to us and say, we're going to purchase this, or we're going to do this, asking for the funding, and it has to come to the members of the city council for us to approve. Okay? We're not going to send them a $10,000 check and say, you do whatever you want to with it. They come to us. All right? So that's the reason I'm going to approve it, because it's going to be done that way, and it's for the protection of the children and protection of the both leagues. Even though they're nonprofits, they are they nonprofits?
Yes.
Yes.
Both of them? Yeah, they're nonprofits. I think it'd be good to take care of the children this way, and I don't know when you'll be able to play or how you're going to do it, Councilman. Maybe you're the only one that knows that, but I recommend that the recommendation that Councilman Varona did for the children and the 10,000 for each one of the organizations, that you help support that, if it's okay.
And
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
just to make a comment, and I was talking to Mr. Massey on it, as far as Little League, there'll be needs, and I know we work very close, Little League works very close with Parks and Recs, with all these protocols that have been in front of us, there'll be needs for benches and stuff like that, you know. Not all the kids will be able to be in the dugout at the same time. So there'll be some structure implements that we'll go through Parks and Rec to get those done.
So they can social distance?
Yes,
Okay.
on the social distance and all that.
Yeah. Perfect. Were you gonna say something?
Yes.
Councilman, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. On the first request that I had made on the Port Authority, I'm going to yield to you, Mayor, and just withdraw that one, okay? On the second one, I feel that we should do what we can to help the Chamber of Commerce. We want to make sure that the Chamber of Commerce is a viable resource for the rest of the businesses in our community. So, Mr. Massey, my question to you is, during the study session, can the mayor just say, well, do we have consensus here? We can't take a formal vote. How do we know if we should proceed? If there's enough, do we just take a, what do we do?
It can be a very informal direction if there's a vote to include it or not include it, and that would be like directions to staff. It would be, tentative, subject to the final motion, and the final motion to adopt the tentative budget could be subject to amendments, such as I want to make an amendment to include it, I want to make an amendment to exclude it. But for right now, what we need is direction to staff whether to include it in the proposed tentative budget that will be submitted to council next Tuesday at 2 p.m.
So would it be appropriate for me to just make a motion to fund the Chamber of Commerce for $50,000 as direction to staff?
To include it? Yes.
Yes.
It would be appropriate.
But we voted on it.
But, right. But of course, it's not, this is not
Yes.
final. Just to understand, this is not a final vote
Right,
to
it's
include
just
it in the tentative budget. It's just for the purpose of preparing the written document that will be submitted to you all by
Tuesday.
staff on Tuesday.
Mayor,
Go ahead.
I've already said it, and I don't want to be redundant here, but I'd like to make a motion to approve the Chamber of Commerce for $50,000 funding for our next fiscal year budget.
Well, I guess we need to see if there's a second. But then I'd like to be heard.
Second.
Okay.
Mayor, thank you. Mayor and members of council, again, this is Chamber of Commerce funding for a service contract, potentially for a service contract. This would not be just $50,000. Okay, they submit an invoice and we write them a check for $50,000. What we did previous years is we had a service contract where Chamber was going to be performing certain promotional type services for the city. And then with every quarterly invoice, they would submit documentation to show what they've done, that they've earned that amount of dollars. And I guess from my recollection, some of the challenges was they were submitting invoices and we weren't getting a good understanding of what they were doing. And so again, if this is included, today and adopted on Tuesday, basically it would be direction to my office to negotiate a service contract, and we would bring that back to City Council for consideration and possible action on it. And then, the implementation of that contract would be subject to the overall management of the city manager, just like with everything else. And if there was a question as far as was documentation there sufficient to pay an invoice, that would be something that the city manager would have to approve.
Okay. So we'll just put it on for a vote on Tuesday.
I concur.
Yeah.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
What kind of service is the chamber gonna do?
What they've done in the past, Mayor,
Go ahead.
is they man a visitor center, and that's considered a public service. So we could be paying for hours of manning a visitor center. We could be paying for printing of promotional materials. We could be paying for billboards on highways, things like that the chamber would submit. So that would be something that we would have to discuss with the chamber. They would have to submit a proposal. We would put it in the form of a contract, and then we'd bring it back to City Council for consideration.
But
Yes, go ahead.
The point, Councilwoman Melendez, is that we are going to appropriate $50,000 for the Chamber of Commerce. That doesn't mean the Chamber of Commerce is gonna get the $50,000. They may not agree to the contract, we may not agree to what they wanna do, and if the attorney approves it, and the city manager approves it, and when it comes to the council, if we don't want those services, that's not what we wanna do, we reject the contract, there's no $50,000 given to them, nothing. This is just to have the funding set aside. Then it has to go through the process of the contract negotiations, then it comes to us, which we've always had a lively discussion on the contract, and then if it gets approved, they're entitled to the funding if they provide the proper documentation every 30 days. But that doesn't mean that they're gonna get this money until all of these steps are taken and approved.
Because in the past that I recall, I've never seen any report. I don't recall seeing nothing done by the chambers, so I'm gonna be very honest.
Okay, that's fine.
That's my perception. I've never seen them do nothing, really. So are they gonna do what?
We don't know until the contract is run. I just wanna make sure the funding is there, and then we'll go through the steps, and if we don't agree, we don't agree. This doesn't mean, because we're saying we're gonna allocate the money, that they're gonna get the money. This is just if they follow the legal requirements to it, and we approve it finally.
Council Mayor? Right.
I feel the same way as Councilwoman Hernandez. We've dealt with the Chamber of Commerce for many, many years, and we've just never been able to get what we need. And the requests were very simple requests, nothing that would have hurt anything. One request was, give us a list of your paying members. Never. Give us a list exactly what you're doing for the city of Nogales. We're not interested in what you do for Tubac or Sonoita or somewhere else. If we're gonna supply money, we have to know exactly what the city's getting. It's not a donation. They're supposed to be doing something for our money. And it does not include helping out some other city. And I've always brought up that it's called the Santa Cruz Nogales Chamber of Commerce. Everywhere I've been, it's usually there is different Chamber of Commerces, but there is Tucson Chamber of Commerce. There is a Sierra Vista Chamber of Commerce. And there is no Nogales Chamber of Commerce in Santa Cruz County at Nogales Chamber of Commerce. So, and we've always gone through the same thing. We've always had the same battles. We've always had the same thing. So basically, I just want to let you know, I would not feel comfortable, and I would be voting no on something like this.
Mr. Mayor? Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Councilman Venecian mentioned it. Does the county fund the Chamber of Commerce?
I don't know.
Once they
I don't know.
They fund the Port Authority, but I don't know if they fund the Chamber of Commerce.
If they fund the Port Authority, it's new. But
They didn't
they
fund
just
it
leave the
before.
Port Authority out.
They do fund the Port Authority.
Yeah. They started doing it recently, but they weren't.
Yeah, they started doing the reason because the city of Nogales, and I didn't want to bring this out, the city of Nogales started funding the Port Authority actually 1 year before we came on board here. They started funding it in 2006. And they funded it for 13 years, which added up to $650,000, right? And I will say this, when we first started with it,
Chamber, not the Port.
the whole deal was on the crossing there in Mariposa Road there for the crossing for the federal government. And we worked very, very hard because it was all supposed to be headed by at the time, the mayor of Manasa. And unfortunately, he died. And everybody else, including myself, everybody else just dropped the ball completely, including the Port Authority. But we were able to regroup with the help of Marco Lopez and Janet Napolitano. With Janet Napolitano, basically the one said, I'll take care of it. In one of the meetings, she said, I'll get the money one way or another, and she did get the money, right? And so that's why, and it was, the first agreement was to fund it for 3 years. The county bailed after 3 years. They said, that's it, the agreement was for 3 years. The city of Nogales continued for another 10 years to fund it, right? And in the future, if there was ever a need, maybe we could get together with them and partnership up. But that would be on a base-to-base. We would have to see exactly what it is. I have nothing against the Port Authority. for the times that we went looking for the money in Washington DC was very, very good, right? But again, it would have to be on something that they would bring up to us to what they would help us with, right?
Thank you, Mr.
And
Hansen.
as far like I said, with the chamber, you know, I've always had just bad
We'll bring-
situations always with.
We'll bring this one, for a vote on Tuesday.
No, it's right now the motion is.
Do you want, yeah, the motion is to
Motion.
include it
To
or not
include it,
include it?
Right.
Okay.
So what, we
Okay.
haven't had a
We had a
vote.
vote, okay. You seconded, huh? A motion. Okay, so let's vote to see if we're gonna have it on Tuesday. Let's roll call vote on this. Start with Mr. Hanesian.
No,
They didn't say it.
I said Mr. Hanesian. Okay, Letty, you go ahead, say the name.
Mr. Genesian,
no,
Mrs. Lopez,
No.
Mr. Diaz,
Nay?
Mr. Barona,
Aye.
Mr. Bohoker,
Nay.
Mr. Maldonado.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
thank you. Mayor,
Nay.
so I
Can I
have
go
one,
to the next?
two
Yes.
ayes.
Okay, Mayor, then, I wanna take the last two joint.
Okay.
Because they're the same thing. It's, for the youth of the community, we have two big leagues here, the AYSO and the Nogales Little League. And the $10,000 appropriation is to be used for CDC, the Center for Disease Control, COVID protocols, just for that. That's all. And they are to submit a budget to us with a narrative, and then we, once it clears the legal and is presented to us for that, then in a council action, we will approve the distribution of the funds. So I make a motion.
Mr. Barra, I would just like that they would supply us with invoices. Just exactly, if we agree they're gonna be buying masks, as long as they supply us with an invoice that they bought the mask, as to what we agreed to give them, at the time, let's say
Or
$2,000.
requesting the funding to buy or purchase something, then we agree with that, and then we give them the
After the
money.
purchase.
Uh-huh.
All right, as
Yeah.
long as it's brought to us, and that there is definitely exactly what the money's.
Yeah,
gonna be.
that's what Councilman Barona is basically saying.
So the motion is to go ahead and authorize $10,000 funding for AYSO, $10,000 funding for the Nogales Little League for the implementation of recommendations from the Center for Disease Control, COVID protocols.
Mr. Massey, should
I second it.
stay out of this vote because of,
No, there's no statutory conflict of interest. It's a nonprofit.
okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, we have a second?
I second.
All right, is there any discussion on this? No? Okay.
The only discussion is as long as there's proper documentation. No proper documentation, no money.
Okay.
Right?
All
This is
right.
not a freebie.
Let's get
No, it's
up.
not a freebie, but Mayor, but that's when it comes to the council for final approval, correct, mister? That's when these discussions come up, at that time.
Yeah. Okay, so, let's do a roll call vote on this.
Mr. Genesian,
Yes,
Mrs. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Diaz,
Yes?
Mr. Barona,
Yes?
Mr. Bohoker,
Yes.
Mr. Maldonado,
Yes,
Mayor,
Yes.
That's all that I have, Mayor,
Unanimous.
thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barona. Okay, Mr. Kissinger?
Like to proceed on this?
Yes, sir.
So just to recap, Mayor, if I could,
Pat, so you have your general fund balance screen up on, slide up on the screen?
you do?
I do.
Okay. Can I just recap? So it was no on the Chamber of Commerce, and yes on the AYSO and Little League for 10,000 apiece, and then nothing on the Port Authority?
Correct.
That is correct.
million taken away from that contingency reserve, which would leave, the 2.4 million then available for emergency expenditures or further under realization of revenues. So taking that out, the fund balance available is 10.8 million. And one of the things that we pulled out was the PSPRS liability policy, unfunded liability policy that the council approved last year. And it was to have this unfunded liability paid down by 2036, which is 16 years out. When you look at what the liability is and you divide it by 16 years, and this will change every year because they do new actuarials, they do experience level, who's retired, who's not around anymore, they look at all those things like they do with an insurance company. And it would be $2 million a year you need to be setting aside to meet that unfunded liability by 2036. Now, on ASRS, there is no policy the council has, but if you follow the same type of policy that was in the statute that you had to follow with PSPRS, it'd be 563,000. So if that's the case, the available fund balance with those reserves put aside to pay down those liabilities, it would be 8.2 million that would be available in fund balance. And we talked about this before, that you want that fund balance to be up as high as you can because it can go away pretty quickly, depending on if you have another really bad year and it's worse than what we anticipated, then that fund balance goes down. Any capital that we're looking at, we just now used up 20,000 of that 8.2 million based on what council wants to put into the budget. But we are going to be discussing vacancy savings and how much is the vacancy savings. So keep this number in mind, we'll come back to it, and then let's talk about vacancy savings now, John.
Pat? Pat?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you for helping us to address this issue, because I think it's a very important issue to address. But Mayor, I'd like to make some comments to the mayor. Vice Mayor?
Go ahead,
I'd
Councilman.
like to make some comments to the
Go ahead.
Vice Mayor and the Council. I did some research this morning, and I don't know how it came about, because sometimes we get criticized because we take our responsibilities as people, elected individuals, and sometimes people misinterpret our responsibilities, how we take it, as trying to interfere with a city manager form of government. And I led that, and I've never seen anybody really trying to do that, to mix into it. But here's a situation that I found out, and I'll be upfront with you. My discussions were with the county manager. They're going through the same thing that we're going through right now. And she told me that a decision had to be made whether we were gonna pay this over 20 years or 30 years. So a decision was made for 20 years. Well, how come we weren't included in the decision if we're the ones who are providing the funding? Why didn't the city manager come to us at that time when they said you had to make this decision and brief us about what was going on? The other thing that,
Mr. Rivera, when did that happen?
well, if Pat is telling us that we have 16 years left, they probably took a 20-year deal, so it was 4 years ago. But finally, we're addressing this issue. The other thing.
So I don't know. Were you going to say something?
I did, but I didn't want to interrupt
Just
Councilman, but I
just a
did.
bit.
I do
Just
have
thank
some
you.
information that last July, council did adopt a policy that was presented by the finance director. The legislature required the county and the city and all other local governments to adopt a policy by July 1 of last year. So at the regular council meeting in July of last year, the finance director, Mrs. Parales, proposed a policy that said it would be paid down by 2036. And so that, it was just a general policy. There was not a lot of numbers associated with it for each year. But that was direction to staff, counted as direction to staff. And so that's the policy that we're trying to follow. And It is a statute that says every year the policy needs to be readopted, so as part of the budget, tentative budget for next Tuesday, we'll be presenting that policy again. And so if 2036 seems too aggressive or too lackadaisical or whatever, that can be revisited. But the statute requires that the city, the county, any other government entity adopt a timeline and direct staff to address that project the problem accordingly.
And we do it every year then.
And we will be doing it from now until 2036, until the debt is paid off.
Maybe there wasn't clarity on this deal because there
Yeah.
was never any figures or any payments that we were gonna be making. The other concern that I have,
Councilmember, if you could, I think I might clear up one thing,
sure,
on that. There was two different separate things, Mike. One was about 4 years ago, there was an opportunity that a city could choose to either pay off the unfunded liability in 20 years or do it over 30 years, but you would pay more for the 30 years because you're going to be paying interest. It's like a loan. And that decision had to be made at that time, and if you didn't make it by a certain date, you were locked into the 20. So I don't know what happened 4 years ago, what the direction was to PSPRS, but I know all the cities and towns had to look at that. So that's one issue. After that, they came out with the statute that required the adoption every year of the unfunded liability. And probably because, and I think you might be right, Councilmember, is probably the 20 years is what you had opted into. That would make sense that there would now be the 16 years left that you have the unfunded liability. But Mike is right, there's nothing that says that in the statute, but it might be direction from PSPRS. We're investigating that. I called the league. I'm trying to find out if that 2036 is a locked-in number, and I'm also trying to contact PSPRS.
okay. Maybe you can help me with this other one because I make sure I'm clear on this, Pat. Remember when we were talking about these liabilities and we said that we have to pay for the fire department for every dollar of wages, 68 cents, and for the police department, 62 cents?
Yes.
Okay, so my conversations with the county manager was that they're paying substantially less than that amount of with the county for their public safety deal. And I just want to figure out why they're paid so much lower and ours is so much higher, so much drastically higher than that. Well, she told me, this is the suggestion that I'm making to the mayor and council here, is that their bonding agent is the same as ours, Michael
Vasquez.
Vasquez. So she said that he is helping them put this package together so that the rate, all of these charges that we're getting, will come down substantially. I understand from the county manager, for the civilian part, we pay 12 cents on the dollar. They have lowered that to 12 cents on the dollar. And we're paying 68 to 62 cents on the dollar. Well, that's a lot more, you know, and that's money that we're tight on money, and we need to use it to allocate some.
That's a lot more.
Yes, correct. So with this, Mayor, the only thing I'm asking is for the staff, so I got this right, what we're doing. But I would like to have a comprehensive study session on this, Mayor, and bring down our bonding agent on how they can help us to take care of this liability. That's all I want to say, Pat, and thank you very much for finally we're addressing this issue and putting money aside. Oh, Pat, one more question. So this is $1.2 million, is that correct, that you're saying?
No, I'm saying that we need to put aside
2.6. Yes, I'm sorry.
And 563 for ASRS.
Yes, you're correct. I read the wrong figure. $2.6 million. So I asked you a question yesterday that there was $1.2 million set aside for pension liabilities, and you said that was for the current year.
Yes.
Okay, so in essence, for public safety, we're having to put $2.6 million to pay back the previous liability, plus we have to pay another $1.2 million at the 68 and the 62 cents this year. So it is substantially higher, what it's costing us for public safety pension liability.
Mayor and members of the council, if I could, one thing I want to make sure everybody understands is that every community in every county will be calculated differently based on your experience, how many people you have in the system, how many people are retiring, how many people have dependents still alive. I'm working with one community that pays 109% of a police officer's salary just for pension. So they pay more for the pension than they do the salary. So if there's a wide scale of where it's ending up depending on the experience of every community. And I think what you're talking about, council member, is because Michael is a financial advisor, there has been some discussion about selling bonds and refinancing, but you're replacing a debt with a debt. So you got to be very careful that is there really going to be that realized on the valuation. So I'm in concurrence. That's a subject that would be great for a work session to kind of talk through the pros and cons of if you were to issue debt to pay for debt, what would that mean? And then there's also other things that you can do based on policy decisions to maybe manage that number from continuing to go up. So I just would say I would concur. I think that would be an excellent topic for the council to get into more details because it is a big part of your budget.
Pat, would it be possible that before, and Mr. Kissinger can tell you where we're going to have that meeting when the mayor agrees to it, would it be possible that we will get from Michael one solution, but can you present us with another solution with your experience of helping other cities? Because I'm not too much in selling bonds and refinance, okay? I'm not too much for it, but I want to listen to the presentation. But can you present another solution for us?
I can't by next Tuesday.
No, it won't be. This probably won't happen till July or August, okay?
Oh.
They won't, it's still a long ways away, no. But can you present when we have this discussion? This is already done, what we're gonna pay for now. But at least for future city councils, we can have a solution in place that could probably be substantially less payments on the month, on the yearly basis.
Okay, and there is a valuation company that the city was going to be working with that kind of did this sort of thing on different ways to look at it. So I will be contacting them to find out if they've done any work on the Nogales yet, and then I can have that ready for council when you do have that work session.
Is that all right, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay, the mayor agrees, Pat, so I want to make sure we get all the options available, because this is a substantial debt for 16 years.
Just go ahead.
So Pat, you can help us understand the unfunded liability that we currently are carrying on the books. There's one option, right, is to pay it down. There's no policy change or anything we can do today to reduce that liability that we have on the books currently. Right?
Well,
What we're talking about is future liability that we'll be adding to it. We can make policy changes and do some other things to reduce the future ongoing liability. Correct?
that's correct, John.
Okay. So what we owe, we owe. It's just how we're gonna pay it is a different way of looking at it. Michael Vasquez has helped other communities finance that and spread it out over maybe past the 16 years and further out into the future to reduce the I just want to make sure that we know what we're talking about. And then also the public safety retirement accounts are per community. So Santa Cruz County's contribution to the public safety retirement system could be different from the one from the city of Nogales. Douglas could be different. Yuma could be different. One of the reasons why ours did have a substantial increase was, unfortunately, we had a non-duty debt. So we had that liability that we need to start covering. That's the reason why we did have an increase in our premiums, because we have, unfortunately, an increase in our payout. So each community is a separate account. It's not a pooled retirement account like the ASRS one. So in the PRS, the one where the civilians are in, that's only 12, it's the entire state contributing to that retirement system. The PSPRS, it's only the city of Nogales' pension plan that we're paying. So that's a huge difference.
But Pat, in fairness here to the mayor and council here, so that the public understands this, and I don't know if you're gonna agree with this statement or not, but a lot of this liability that we have was created by the mismanagement of the PSPRS investment board that made bad investments, where the director was recently terminated and the chairman and the assistant chairman were also asked to leave the board because of other unprofessional conducts that they were conducting. In comparison to that board and their investment to the ASRS board and their investment, which I am a part of that board, I receive payments, retirement payments. They have invested soundly, and they're considered one of the best investors in the United States for that. That is a lot that has to do with these problems that we're in right now, though, too. That's why we have to continuously pay more, because of bad investments.
Mayor and council member, it's pretty public information that there were a lot of issues. It's out there, you're not saying anything that wasn't on the news or
Right.
somebody couldn't Google and look up. There were a lot of issues associated with it. And hopefully they've hired a new habitat, and hopefully we're gonna see things turn around in that direction. The only thing that I would add, John, on what you said is that if you do pay, instead of just putting money aside, an analysis needs to be made. It's just like a mortgage. If you prepay your principal on your mortgage, overall you pay less, even on your existing liability, because of the interest. So that's why they allow you to pay your PSPRS payment, that $1 million that you were talking about earlier. You could pay that July 1, and you save a little bit of money because you're prepaying for the whole year. So there is ways that you can pay ahead and get that liability down, but you got to look at what is the interest rate you're earning on your money versus what you'll gain if you pay off early with the PSPRS. So that's part of the analysis too.
You're right, you're 100% right.
Okay, Mayor. Mayor.
Yes.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kissinger.
Okay,
John,
Pat,
you want to go to the vacancy now?
sure, I'm there.
Okay, what this is, and John, you can jump in at any time, because John made sure that this was put together with the HR manager, and then John and I talked about it, and there's certain positions that are going.
Hello? Hector, did you pull the plug?
No?
No signal.
Jose.
No signal.
Jose, as soon as I stopped talking, I thought, oh, it's like,
You did something.
Marcy, what did you press?
Was anything else talked about on the capital request when I left right now?
no, nothing.
None?
It was basically all, we were just talking about this.
Yes, right now?
That's up.
Okay. Because we only had,
Tell us when you leave, Mayor, because my back's to you, and I'm addressing you, then I have to go over here and address him.
I told Mr. Messi, I'll be right back.
He didn't, Mr. Massey didn't say anything.
Well, Mr. Messi, you better get on the ball.
Okay, Mayor.
Ah,
Next time, sir.
You are responsible.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
Hey, no, what I'm saying, because we only had certain things we had approved on this, didn't we, yesterday? Más o menos?
Yeah, but we're still gonna talk about all
Okay, okay, because, since we jumped to vacancies.
Pat, I don't know if you can hear us, but, we
No
want
signal.
back here.
No, I kind of lost what happened here. We started going down the list, and then I don't know what's happening now. Do they want to continue to go down the list, or are we going a different direction?
Pat, we lost you, just stand by a sec. I think this computer's set to time out.
Thought you worked till 5, John.
No, I think it's,
Thank you for
you
your-
know how they have, like a screensaver type thing, if you don't,
You're welcome.
it's you don't play with the mouse or something. Right?
You're a good man, Mr. Mustafa.
Thank you.
You're a good man.
See, I couldn't sleep last night with this thing. I just got,
Okay,
it feels
Pat,
terrible.
you should be
leaving the
on.
council and you leave with all of this debt.
Can you hear us, Pat?
Couldn't sleep last
Yeah,
night.
está bien.
Can I continue to go down the list then?
Give me a second here. We're regrouping. Just give me a sec. $5 I would give you an email for it. Never, yeah, never.
That's it. Oh, that's worse, Jose. You getting involved here in politics, Jose? Oh.
Okay.
Okay, Pat, we left off on me bringing up the screen that
Okay.
has the vacancies on it.
Yep. Okay, so I'm on the second one, the Economic Development Management Analyst. That money, the 60,000, I was told to move that to the mayor's budget. Well, but with the EREs, it was 84,541, so as a result, there's 24,541 available of that money that wasn't moved. The next position is the Development Services Coordinator, and that one is up for discussion on whether or not, and these are not eliminating positions, these are talking about freezing positions, at this point, from my understanding.
Correct.
And so there's 77,385. The senior engineering, one wasn't budgeted, so there's not any vacancy savings because that one wasn't budgeted.
Correct. So,
Finance,
and then, Pat, if you don't mind, column C is when the position was vacated. So, on this one here, this development senior coordinator, it was vacated in March of this year. And if it helps everybody, that's Eduardo's job,
Oh, okay, I know.
okay?
The one that went to the county.
So
Yes.
he went to the county, that's a position that we're unfilled currently, okay? Okay, Pat?
okay, the next one we have is the, accounting manager, and this one's been vacant since 7/15 of 2018. The reason that I put question marks on that side was because I do think you need a strong number 2 in accounting. I'm not sure that it needs to be an accounting manager position, but at least a senior accountant. And if the town would, the city would grow, then that person may grow into an accounting manager position. But for right now, I think that we need to leave the salary in because for succession planning, you should see what happens. Right now with the vacancy of your finance director, there's no strong number 2 to step into that role. So by getting at least a senior accountant, we would have that person there. The finance director, hopefully you're gonna fill that one, so we didn't put any vacancy savings there. And then the finance collection field specialist, we put question marks there, but as John and I discussed it, this position really should pay for itself. It's kind of like an auditor position, this is a collection position. And usually they collect twice as much as their salary, if not 3 times. I know I had one at Chandler that collected, we called it a revenue collector, and they more than paid for their salary 3 times over. So if you get a very good collection field specialist, they should more than pay for their salary.
So, if you don't mind, I'll jump in, back here a little bit. This one was just vacated in May. If you guys, remember, this was
Valencia.
Dan Valencia,
Valencia.
who left us. Dan Valencia would go out to the different businesses and make sure that, one, they do have a current business license and they're operating a business license, and to also, check on their, submittal for sales tax. That became a little difficult just here recently because sales tax got shifted over to being collected by the state. However, if we got a good person in place for this field specialist, they could work in conjunction with the state and make sure that we're getting every penny of sales tax that's consider keeping that, on board for the, you know,
Yeah.
like you were saying, it might pay for itself. you know. It should pay for itself. Okay, Pat?
Okay, the next position is fire engineer, and we didn't put any vacancy savings over there
So,
because of the fact that the minimum staffing that the chief has to have.
right,
So if you fill a position, you end up paying time and a half, to have someone fill that position.
correct.
So that's why we didn't put any vacancy savings there.
Correct, and in this one here, I just wanna let, mayor and council know, this position has already, it's already been approved to be filled. It makes more sense currently to actually fill our fire, department's position. And because of the requirements of the fire department to have minimum staffing, it's costing us more to pay firefighters to come in and backfill and have them for 48 hours of overtime to backfill, and it would cost a lot more than what's here. Plus, those 48 hours of overtime are tremendously adding to our pension liability.
John, do you fill that engineer position with a firefighter, or you bring somebody from the outside?
Well, currently they're filling it with somebody from within.
From within?
Yeah,
Okay.
they have a temporary assignment in there right now, and
Yeah.
they're filling it from within,
Okay.
which opened up the firefighters on the
Then
bottom.
that opens up a firefighter position?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that one, my recommendation to council is, not, hopefully not to consider that one for unfunding. Pat, did I lose you?
No, I agree.
Okay. Scared me there for a second, I thought maybe I lost you.
Okay, so the next one is the HR assistant receptionist, and right now it's filled with a temporary, and so we didn't know if that was something, if you want to add to that, John, that's currently being filled by temporary funds, but we put question marks there too.
Correct, this is the young lady that sits on the front desk.
She does a wonderful job.
Yeah,
Wonderful job.
She's on a, she.
Wonderful job.
How wonderful.
It's good, good.
She
So,
takes your temperature.
Go on to the library, John, go on to the library.
She checked my temperature the other day.
She doesn't let you
She's
get by.
She's at me as soon as I walk in. The receptionist, John.
I think, Pat, mayor and council are inclined to keeping that position funded in the budget.
Okay. The homework tutor we have, and vacancy savings that's not filled, library assistant, not filled, and put that up for vacancy savings just to freeze those positions. Same with the police department, those are the positions that aren't filled. You can see over in column C, the dates that they've been open. And so the total vacancy savings that we're seeing that council could freeze on those positions is $1,065,378.
So, in, Pat or Mr. Kitchen,
Yes.
in summary, we agree then to do that, and all the ones that you recommended, with that amount of money, we're agreeing that the ones you recommended to stay in, would stay in, like the fire engineer and those others. Is that correct? The agreement with this?
That's, the question we're posing. to
No, no,
council.
I know
But
that,
our
but-
recommendation would be,
Freeze everything.
Except the question marks.
except the one
And
that
the
we talked
engineer.
about.
I'm okay with that.
Unless you all want to have a further conversation.
No.
I don't think so.
Mayor, this just.
The only one I'm a little concerned of is the accounting manager. I know the collection field specialist we need, the accounting manager, I don't know if we should jump at that right now. But it's up to you, members of the council. And then everything else, because I'm looking at the police department, you have 4 positions that have been open since 2018. Should have filled them up a long time ago.
We gave him 9 positions.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead, Council, John.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yes, go ahead.
Good, Mr. Mayor, and Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, the question we're asking mayor and council, on these positions isn't whether we're going to freeze them or not, it's to unfund them for this year. So,
Yeah.
if we unfund them, we won't be coming back and asking to fill them during the year.
Yeah.
Because you might be using that $1 million and spending it somewhere else.
Yeah,
So freezing it means we're just not gonna spend $1 million, but we could maybe, kinda, sort of, right?
Yeah.
In case something changes. But if we unfund them, we're actually applying that $1 million
Something else.
to other places within the budget. And did I state that right, Pat?
Right, if you're unfunding them, the position still exists as far as on the books, it's just you won't have the funding for fiscal year 21. And council can make a decision then the following fiscal year if they do want to fund them. Or if you don't use all up that $1,065,000 because we haven't gotten to the capital yet,
Put it back.
then, you could fund some of the positions in the course of the year if you found out that you needed to.
Mayor,
just go ahead.
Mr. Kissinger, we come up with 1.6, but on my sheet that you gave to me, after the police, it says here, Assistant Public Works Director, and I don't see it.
Yes, I removed that from the sheet that I gave you, and not this sheet, and I apologize, I didn't reprint this, is because what we're trying to solve, today is a general fund, issue, and remind me what it says there?
Assistant Public Works
The
Director.
Assistant Public Works Director is within the enterprise fund. So that person is paid out of, three enterprise: sewer, sanitation, and water. That's why you don't see him on this schedule here, because this schedule here is trying to solve, the next schedule's problem, this capital problem. So even if we did not fund that, it's not gonna help us with that problem.
Isn't that within the?
Does that help answer that question, Dr. Ryan?
Yes, it did. You answered it perfect. The only thing, Mayor, Mr. Kissinger, is that $7,900 for a homework tutor.
Right.
I would like to see that be funded. Because we were talking about having the kids help at the low-income housing authority, and I think that we're not gonna go broke with $7,900, okay? And I think any way we can help the youth in our community with academic achievement, I think we can handle. So I would like to see that be funded.
There was 2 vacant positions for that one.
Which is the other one?
No,
There's
just
two
one right here on this.
Just one.
tutors.
There's two on the employee one,
Uh-huh.
yeah, but there's just one on the budget.
What do? Do we need to take a vote on that, Mayor?
Should we take a vote on that? Same thing?
Yes.
To make sure that that's funded? Yeah.
So I make a motion to include the homework tutor to be funded.
Second.
No discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
So Pat, homework tutors in.
Okay, so I took that out as vacancy savings, so now the new number is $1,057,436.
Okay.
1,057,436.
Yep.
Thank you.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, can I give an explanation on the vacancies that we have for the police department?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we currently have 46 officers. As of July 10th, we're gonna have 45 because we're gonna have one more retiring. The reason that I haven't caught up with my vacancies is because I'll give you a perfect example here. In the last fiscal year, I've hired 4 officers and 8 have either left or retired. So we're in the trend right now that the officers are not staying much over the 20-year retirement minimum, and that's the issue that we're having here. One of the trends that we're looking at is that these officers are retiring at 20. One of the things I'm trying to do some here, there's 8 officers right now that are able to retire at any day, right? And hopefully they don't. And we have 11 officers that can retire within the next 4 years. Before me, if you remember, we put in for a Department of Justice grant that would fund 3 officers at 75% for the next 3 years. Luckily, right now in front of me, we just got news right now, official news, that we got funded $704,122 for 3 officers for the next 3 years. That's going to be going for you for approval on the July 1st council meeting. And then we have 2 more on deck that are certified. That are just missing their medical, I believe. And so that'll be 5. And then we have talked about $145,000 for academy. We have 3 more that are ready to go to the academy from August. The $45,000 that I put in for this year's fiscal year for the budget, it's going to be overridden or washed. It's going to be a wash because we plan on sending an officer to be an advisor up there for the entire 4 months that the cadets are up there. So that'll waive our $45,000 fee. One of the things that I want to be prepared for is from the point that we test to the point that these officers are on the road by themselves, not fully, well, I mean, they can make their own decisions, but they're still in the training mode in a way, even though they're by themselves. It takes us about a year. And one of the things I want to do is with these officers, like I said, there's 8 officers that can retire any day. I don't want to wait till we're short and be reactive. I want to be proactive. Hopefully this year, again, we have an academy in August, which I plan on sending 3 brand new applicants, working with human resource to have a testing here the next month or so for communications and for patrol. I can tell you that if you look down at the lieutenant's position, it's been vacant because we had a termination that we were waiting for an appeal as far as to what was going to happen, and that was the only sergeant that was eligible back then to take over the lieutenant's position. One of the things that I'm looking at is I'm working on a succession plan. I can tell you that even though none of us plan on leaving anywhere as far as my command staff, all of the personnel in command, including myself, are eligible for retirement as we speak. One of our lieutenants that's not eligible will become eligible in August. And I don't want something to happen and all of a sudden we don't have enough people in command staff to run this department. I'm just trying to be proactive, and we've had some issues with recruiting, we've had some issues with retention. Again, the retention part is luckily we have a great department that people are leaving after their 20 years. Lately we've had a couple of officers that have left because of money issues. They've gone to other agencies where they pay much more. I can't really control that. But I'm worried about the losing officers through attrition and then having to fill once they leave, because again, we're going to be behind the 8 ball instead in front of it. So my request is that we don't freeze any of these positions, and hopefully with some aggressive recruitment and aggressive efforts, we can retain all these officers and even add more. One of the things that we're looking at for retention, in addition to these officers to fill these positions, Mr. Mayor, and members of the council, is the annexation. I'm really hopeful and excited about the annexation. And I don't want this annexation to fall on our lap all of a sudden. Hopefully it does. But all of a sudden we don't have the proper manpower to cover the portion of the annexation that we're going to be acquiring. The flyover is another thing. We're hoping that our business goes up to the flyover. So I'm planning on hopefully building my department even solidifying it rather than going down on personnel. I understand the financial situation that we're in. However, to be irresponsible means to say, you know what, let's take all this money away and I'm okay, and all of a sudden we fall below the, I guess safety levels, for lack of a better word, because we don't have a minimum. But I think we want to make sure that we provide the correct public safety that our community expects, and that's what I plan on doing. So with all due respect, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I ask that we keep all these openings unfrozen. Again, we have 704,122 for 3 positions that are going to be presenting to you guys on next Wednesday or July 1st, whenever the meeting is. And then we have 3 more, or 2 more actually that are certified that are pending medical. And we're working with human resource for the testing, so we can bring in some more officers. And that way, if the way the pattern has been is that I'm losing officers every year to retirement through attrition. So I don't want to wait till I lose them, so I can wait another year to start sending people to the academy and start recruiting them. Because then it's pretty dangerous for us, for the community. So with all due respect, I would ask that you leave those positions open so I can work with them, and I'll aggressively do that right now. We just got a break that there's an academy in August. That'll probably be, I'm not sure when the next academy is going to be. And giving you an example, that academy starts in August and you graduate in January. And then they have another 5 months of field training. So that alone is 9 months, 9 or 10 months that these officers are out, and I don't have that food on the ground. So that's what I'm looking at. Again, if you have any questions, I'm willing to answer any questions.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Roy, this is John. You said in the next meeting, is that next week you're bringing forward grant application for the funding of 3 officers?
No, sir, I meant the next council meeting, which is, I believe, is July 1st, or are we?
Next week. Next Wednesday.
Week, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I just put it in minute track.
Okay, so
I just put that in minute track, and I have some other stuff on capital that hopefully will be good news. But
let's stick with that for now, Roy, so we can help the mayor and council here. That funding will fund 75% of a police officer for the next 3 years?
yes.
Okay,
For
and
3 officers.
Okay, Roy.
One of the things that I need to.
Hey, Roy, slow down.
Okay, I can't hear you, that's why.
Okay, let me get closer to the mic. So, that funding, Roy, is for new police officers or current police officers?
That is for strictly new hires.
New hires, okay, so, okay, got it.
So that,
It's only,
the ones that we're gonna hire, come, to Cincinnati Academy, hopefully in August.
and Roy, those new hires are contemplated on that list that they're looking at now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So,
And then
so,
we have 2 more, John, that are certified already, that are
yeah,
waiting for their medical.
but we're gonna go one at a time here, Roy, okay? Slow down for me a little bit. So, in theory, if mayor and council wanted to fund 3 officers, and if they were to do that, we could reduce that, salary, right, and EREs by 25%, Roy, no, 75%.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks for that information, Roy. I think that clears it, did everybody, you guys are okay on that, or at least know what's coming forward, and that funding would be available, starting July 1, right, Roy?
Yes, sir. And one of the things that's convoluted in the word letter, John, here, under the council, is that on the face sheet, it says that the local cash match requires the award will be $0.00, right? But on page 3, it says that it's 25% match. So either or, I mean, if it's $0, I mean, we're ahead of the game, right? But even if it's 25, we're still ahead of the game at best. So we're working hard to not subtract because it's illegal, but supplement our budget here with these grants. So again, we're looking at a succession plan, we're looking at hiring more officers, we're looking at the annexation part.
Okay, so Roy, we kind of got all that. So, yeah, I think they have enough information for them to go ahead and make a decision.
Okay.
So basically, the question is for 3 more, the budget for 3?
Well, 3 at
Just
just
an
25%.
opportunity.
It's 75% less.
75%.
Correct, for next 3 years. There's an opportunity that could weigh in on your decision on unfunding these positions.
Well, on these positions, I'm sorry, Mayor.
Just go ahead.
Mr. Kissinger,
Yes.
on these positions, if it's approved by the mayor and council on Wednesday, are you recommending that after you put this in?
So I wasn't aware of the grant until right now. Having the information about the grant, I would probably have further conversations with the chief on
See, that's not a way.
on whether I leave those 3 positions on, if they're justified, if it's going to be something that really need. So I'm looking at this budget as a COVID budget, getting core service, not wish list.
Yes.
We've had these positions available for quite a while.
Why haven't they been filled though, since 2018?
Well, that's a good question, why they haven't been filled, but the point is they haven't been filled.
Right.
So,
Because the opportunity's been there for 2 years.
And the point is, Mr. Kissinger, we've been working on this budget. This is our 3rd day, and we're working on this. You're making and you just find out right now about 3 positions? Right now?
No.
What kind of communications do you guys have?
so, Dr. Ronas, like that.
I can clear that up. Actually, I have it in front of me, and it's dated June 25th, 2020, which is today. So we just got official notice today that we were awarded the 704-122. So it did happen today. I didn't know that before.
So if I wasn't recommending to solve a problem by using vacancy positions, that's likely to be up.
So then the only thing here that you're recommending is that we go ahead and fund 3 officers for 3 years at 25% of their salary.
That's correct.
That's the only thing I'll agree to. That's it. I want to see the whole budget and leave the rest the way it is.
Yeah, that's an opportunity presenting ourselves. I think we should take advantage because it's a good leverage of money.
Yeah.
That'd be-
That's the logical conclusion.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's go with that then, John.
Yeah,
Okay?
I think we can agree because we got to watch ourselves.
Yeah.
So that, having that, I didn't hear any opposition, so I think Pat knows exactly what to do
Right.
for the tentative
Yes,
budget.
right.
Having that said, Pat, I don't know if you were able to do those calculations that quick.
Well, I had a question, I need clarification.
Gotcha.
On the list, there's different officer pay grades for the officers. So, for example, one police officer is 87,683, another one's 83,255.
Right.
Then there's 2 officers for 176. So they're different pay levels, so I'm not sure what to take 75% of that's vacant now. Because you'll have 75% vacancy savings on 3 officers.
Correct. And so how that would work out, Pat, would be depending on who the chief is putting forth for recommendation to hire. If he's recommending an officer that has no experience at all, that officer would, I think, would come in at that 39,000 level. Is that correct, chief?
I think all of them have to be the officers.
Roy?
Yes, these are new officers, and they start off at, it's the first one, 39,961.
Okay, so,
And then on year two, they go up to 41,155, and year two gets 45,539. So for this year, it's 30.
It'd be three new. Three new officers.
three new chief, no laterals on that grant program.
No, but one of the things I'm saying is that we have two officers that are already certified, that will hit the ground running here after a couple of months of field training. And we have them on deck.
So Chief,
That's fine.
Chief, it's a very specific question. On the grant program that you're going to be hiring 3 officers, are they going to be 3 officers at the $39,000 level, or are you contemplating bringing in 3 officers at a different level?
No, they have to be at the starting level, so it's 3 times 39,961.
Got it. That's the question we needed to review. Thanks, Chief.
But then he's got two,
So, John,
then
just
he's
to
got
clarify
two.
again, I think 75% of 39,961, that's 29,975, or 971, that you'll be saving on 3 officers in fiscal year 21, correct?
I believe that's the case. I haven't seen I don't know if it covers any of the EREs or not, Pat.
Usually they don't. Is it the COPS Ahead grant?
Yes, it's a cops grant.
Okay. They usually don't cover EREs. Does it cover overtime, Chief?
No, it doesn't cover overtime, but it does cover EREs. And it's broken down, and I wish I had enough time to but again, I'm missing this today. But it does talk about benefits and Social Security, Medicare, and the whole 9 yards here, so I'm assuming that it does cover anything for $704,000.
Okay, so I think, John, the equation is gonna be the 39,961 plus the EREs times 75%, or just for ballpark figures, Chief, you said the total was 741. Give me the total again.
704, 122.
Total is 704, 122 for 3 years.
Okay, so if you divide that by 3, you're gonna get reimbursed 237,707 per year, right? Just rounding.
Yes, that's what it appears like. However, we talk about this, the patient says that there is no matching, so, but I'm trying to find out if there is or not. Originally, when we put it before council for the application process, we had talked about 25%. So,
Yeah.
win-win situation.
So I'm just saying for discussion purposes to be conservative, let's say that you do have a 25% match. So that being the case, that 704,000 is not 100%, right? That's only 75%?
No, the 704,122 is 100% of the 3 officers for 3 years. That's what I'm saying, it's one page says something and the other one says another. But so we need to look into this, but at best, we get 25% for 3 officers.
So here's my suggestion, Mayor and Council, is that to be conservative, let's assume that you have to match it by 25%. So if that's the case, I take the 234,707 times the 0.25, or minus the 0.25, and that's what we can put in as vacancy savings. Are you with me?
Yes.
What was it again?
The
Taking the number that the chief said, it's 100%, and they're gonna give us a grant, if that's true, I'm only gonna take 75% of that.
Right.
So, to be conservative. So if I do that, the savings for fiscal year 21 will be 176,030 for 3 officers.
For 1 year.
Yes.
Or year what?
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What about the cost on the other 2 officers that Roy has on his plate?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
The other 2 officers that Roy's talking about, that are already,
There's, if we look up there, Councilman, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
you know?
9, 10. Okay, I
Mhm.
Uh, Roy just told us that he has a grant that will pay 75% of 3 of those 10, right? That qualify,
Correct.
right?
Not three of those 10. It's three new ones.
But we're using
Three
these
of,
slots.
3 of those positions,
Mhm.
right?
Isn't it
3 of those
entry level?
Huh?
Yeah.
Entry level.
That's what I just said, entry level,
It's
right?
right there.
So, that's what we've talked about so far. Now, what was the other question?
He's got another 2 officers that are waiting for HR, right, Roy?
We're waiting for, actually,
Medical.
medical to hire them. They're already certified, so we don't have to, we save them $50,000 from the academy, and then we save obviously the year.
Yeah, but we gotta include him on the,
We're gonna go out in about a couple of months.
So they're including those 3.
no,
So.
Those are different.
They're different.
Let's go slow. Roy, the 2 that you're waiting on for a medical, they're currently not on our books, right? They're not hired.
No, they're not hired.
Okay, great. And are they part of what's the discussion today?
I couldn't hear you then.
Are they on the list of what's up on the screen right now?
Yes, there's two openings right there.
Correct.
So.
that we gotta keep.
Agreed from the grant, and 2 they're on deck.
They can use them with the grant.
Correct. So,
But you're recommending, your recommendation,
So those 2
John,
would
right?
come in as an entry level, right?
no, he wants 5 more
Or he
officers.
wants 5 altogether.
And I'm, you're,
we,
well,
we,
yeah.
we,
but-
we just went through a conversation that allowed the chief to bring on 3
Three?
That's
brand new
Mhm.
rookie police officers that will be covered at 75% for a grant.
Mhm.
Now, Councilman Maldonado is aware, right, and asked the question to the chief, that he has 2 officers that he could hire very soon here, right? That are also on this list. That they're available to be hired. They haven't been hired, right, chief?
Correct?
They're available to be hired right now, so he has recruited and has 2 officers that he could bring forward to fill 2 more of these positions very quickly. Right?
That would reduce from the availability.
Excuse me?
That would reduce the money that they get paid from the availability.
Correct.
I have a
For
question.
So if I may, John, Mr. Mayor, members of council, we also have, if you look down, we also have a, 1 corporal detective position open. And that's a detective's position open actually, and that has been vacant through promotions. So we're waiting to, test here within the next 45 days. And so we can fill that position in criminal investigations.
Maybe the best thing is, John, get together with Roy and just bring it up with your suggestions, or put it out if you think it's right.
Mayor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Those 2 positions that you mentioned that they're almost ready, can we have those 2 plus a new one to cover those 3? It's not possible?
The grant covers only new.
Oh,
because
it
they
covers
have
only new.
different
Oh,
officers,
okay.
Councilwoman. So, those 3 would be covered under the ones that I wanna hire to be sent to the academy in August. And then those other 2 that I'm waiting for, that are on deck, are already certified, so the grant won't cover them, because they have to be fresh officers off the street.
So, I'll get ahead of myself a little bit here, but you also have, I'm trying to solve a $4.5 million problem.
Right.
And I need help from mayor and council to
Yeah,
see
but
what
if-
direction we want to go with this. I think we've discussed the possible pros and cons of the decision we're gonna make. And,
I mean, we're putting up right now $2.6 million for the police and the fire in that. If we didn't have this liability, we could easily fund all of those 10 positions.
Mayor,
question?
Yes, go ahead.
Roy, this is Councilman Diaz. How many officers do you see retiring this year?
Our pattern has been, Councilman, that we're losing 3 to 4 a year.
3 to 4 a year?
And that's been over the last 6, 7 years. So it's kind of hard to say. I can tell you that there's 8 officers that are eligible for retirement as we speak right now. So when will they pull that trigger to retire? I have no idea. I wish I knew. But that's just the thing. I'm trying to be proactive because once they retire, then I need to work, from behind the 8 ball to make sure that we fill these positions. And we're running out of, I guess, the certified officers that we have a pool of. So now we're reaching out to brand new officers, but that takes an entire year for them to be actually viable on the street by themselves. So I'm just being proactive here so we don't lose any from the safety.
But Roy, what's, Roy,
I just want to make sure that we're all clear on this, that any positions that he's talking about retiring are in the budget.
Right.
They're
yeah, that's what I was
budgeted.
gonna say.
So, you know, it's.
The money's
it's not
there.
that we won't be able to fill the positions that are
Yeah.
vacant during the year.
We need
These
money for the
positions we're
4.5
looking at
million
now
dollars.
Yeah,
are
no,
vacant
that's-
right now.
But I mean, for the ones that are gonna retire, the money is there.
Oh, yeah.
So once
Oh,
they
for the ones that
retire,
retire,
they can
they're
just
there.
step in with a budget that's there.
They're budgeted, yes.
Yeah, they're budgeted.
But what I'm getting at is, in the interest of public safety, do you have enough officers to take care of the citizens of Nogales? The funded
Right now, I can
positions,
tell
the
you,
funded
Councilman,
positions.
that I do. But will I have in, next month, a couple of months from now? That's what I'm trying to be proactive with. Because even though these officers that were retired are on the budget, we're talking about making a smooth transition, that the loss won't be that great. It's always great, but it won't impact us, that's a better word, as much because we already have people on deck that will take their place to provide that public safety.
But the whole thing is here, I understand the police chief trying to be proactive. But all of these requests that you come up, everybody wants to be proactive. The finance department wants to be proactive, the engineering department wants to, everybody wants to be proactive. But we have a $4.5 million that we need to come up with, is that correct?
That's correct.
That's the thing that we're not
That's what you're
understanding
weighing
here.
it against.
Yeah.
So, we're in an unpredictable financial situation right now. That's the position that we're in. Everybody here supports public safety. We're putting in an extra $2.6 million for public safety right now in their pension to keep things going. So, it's an unpredictable time right now.
And all the COVID money is for public safety too, isn't it?
So, Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
my recommendation is, in light of the information that we received today, my recommendation would probably be to leave 3 of those officers in there just to take advantage of that
That money.
75. I'm still a little leery with that too because it's a commitment. Remember, it's a 3-year commitment, and then we'll be absorbing them or doing something with them. But in light of what we're talking about today, that might be the best course of action today at 4:10 in the afternoon.
See, that I can support to do, because we're getting some funding out of it. 25% we have to put in for 3 years. It gives us leeway, so on the 4th year, we can, you guys can think about it, all right.
Mr. Mayor,
That's it.
members of the council, if you would so leave, if possible, the 3 granted officers plus 1 detective and 1 regular officer for a total of 5, that would be fine for this year. And then next year we'll, and I understand, like I said, I understand that we have to be frugal and understand the situation that we're facing right now. But if you can just leave those 3 from that grant, and then 2 more, and one of them being a corporal detective because we need to promote to fill that position, that would be good. I'm good with that. Hopefully you will too.
Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna stick with the recommendation of the city manager.
I think I've already stated
Yeah.
where I'd
Yeah.
like to be on this.
Let's move on.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll stay with the three officers with that grant.
Okay, let's move on.
So,
John,
yes,
what I did on a spreadsheet is I left all the positions in that are vacancy, except I subtracted out $176,030, because that's what we think we're gonna get from the grant if it's at 75%. If we get more, great, but I'm assuming that 176 of that will not be, will not be used.
okay.
So, of the expenditures there. So the total savings for police then, if you just, keep those three officers, is $732,869.
And brings our total saving bottom line, did you calculate that out, Pat?
Yeah, and for all positions,
All positions, yes.
let me make sure it's picking up
This will be for all unfunded positions going into next year's budget. That are in,
let me do a quick calculation here to make sure I'm picking up the right things here.
and I want everybody to hear this, that these will be, the numbers she's gonna give us are all the unfunded positions that will be presented to you in the general fund.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we do have vacant positions outside of the general fund. Okay, good.
Okay, the total for all of them in the general fund is $881,406.
881,406.
Yes. And that, like I said, that's taking all the positions in the police, as vacant, but then subtracting off 176, because I don't know, there's only one position that's on that list for 39,961. And we don't have time to say which officers are which.
Right, well,
I'm just taking off what he quoted as we would be receiving.
Three of them at 39,000.
Okay?
okay.
Want to go on to the capital list now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So at the top, you see the police department, and they're in priority order by the department heads. And if it's not, then I asked the department head to jump in, because that's the way I understood it was turned in. The first one is for two 2020 Ford Police Interceptors, utility, all-wheel drive. If you took a 5-year lease, that equates out to $27,119 a year. They also ask for industrial refrigerator and freezer, auto-visual recording system, and radio channel 1 communication enhancement, for a total request for fiscal year 21 of $63,912. Now, if you look at all the costs associated with this, with the over the 5 years, it's $172,395, but that'll be for future budget years on the $135,594.
You know,
Any questions on the police request?
no, not that I'm reading, but
It is from the fire department, and we have the heart monitor for $36,000, unit tablet replacement at $18,000. The ambulance, I calculated at $185, but with a 5-year, and these are raw numbers, this is just straight cross, we probably have to fine tune these. But I have $37,000, and then the rest would be $185, would be spread over to get to the $185 would be the next 4 years. The station exhaust system for $45,000, tower refurbishment for $48,000, kiosk meds 22, 3 Ford Explorers, again on a 5-year lease, $20,676, and then rapid responder software for CAD for $13,000. So the total request for the fire department is $239,676. The total cost of what they're asking for, but it won't be in 21, the total cost, $473.80. Only $239,676 will be fiscal year 20.
Pat?
Yes.
And I know the chief's on, so I don't want to catch the chief by surprise, or the council, if they saw a previous capital for the fire chief budget. We took out, because the roof repairs were double booked, And so we took it out of this capital and left it in the facilities capital, correct?
Right, showing up in both places.
So, just so everybody follows me on that, he had roof repairs on his capital, and facilities had roof repairs on his capital, so we took it out of the chief's capital and we left it in facilities. So in case the chief says, oh my God, my roof's not in there, it's somewhere else. Okay, Pat, thank you.
Did we discuss that, the fire department, we gone with 1 and 3?
1 and 3.
1 and 3,
Yes,
we
we
said
did.
on,
1 and 3.
Yeah.
now, on the fire department, we said 1 and 3 only. See?
Yeah.
But I know you guys discussed it, but then we said we would bring it all back to you for
Yeah.
rediscussion, so if it's 1 and 3 and we're good with
That's 1 and 3 is, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Did you copy that, Pat?
1 and 3, so we're gonna fund 36,000 for the heart monitor, and then the first year of the payment of a 5-year lease for the ambulance of 37,000, correct?
Right.
Correct, and we're gonna defer the rest for a future budget.
Okay. So moving on to library, the 20 computers and 3 printers for the library is 25,000 from the city, and then 25 will be matched by the county, and I understood that was in the other day. Council still wants that in, correct?
Right.
Yes.
They also asked for painting and replacing shelves in the Nogales library for 12,000.
Yes.
I heard a yes, is that from everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
I think if you don't hear a no, then that's an assumed yes.
Okay, I didn't hear a no on police, so.
On police, wait a minute. We were just talking, on police, I'm a little, the two 2024 police interceptors, I know that's needed. Is the refrigerator needed and the other items there, or can somebody explain that to me?
Showtime, Chief, again, talk to us about your capital and your freezer.
Freezer, audiovisual, and radio channel 1.
Chief Roy?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can barely hear you, Pat.
Oh, so on your capital, could you give mayor and council explanations on your capital? Except for the cars, I think y'all understand the cars. So the freezer, the recording system, the enhancement to number 1, they wanna hear your justifications on that, Roy?
Okay, the industrial refrigerator and freezer are for evidence. We don't have any commercial freezers or refrigerators right now. We've been using home appliances, which is not good. Plus, they're full. So I want to upgrade into industrial freezer and industrial refrigerator so we can preserve the evidence. It's an integrity issue for the department, and that's the reason I'm putting in for the freezer and refrigerator. On the audiovisual recording system, that's for criminal investigations. That's where we record all these interviews that we've had. There's been a couple of big cases that we've had to go up to the sheriff's office to use their recording system because ours don't work. However, on the July 1st meeting, we're going to present to you that we are putting in through a grant process for a audio-visual recording system. But that's not guaranteed. Again, our audio-visual recording is 10 years old at least, and it doesn't work properly. And it's an integrity issue with investigations.
So, Chief, let me interrupt you. We have about a $4 million rainy day catch-all fund available in the budget. So if you were to get the audio-visual recording system grant, we have a place where we can spend that money. Having that said, can Pat eliminate that item from your capital, from this capital, and we'll spend that money we'll spend that grant money out of that rainy day fund, Chief?
Sure, I mean, if it's gonna happen that way, yeah, absolutely. I mean, because we're not guaranteed that grant, but if that's a commitment that you're making to us, that's fine.
I mean, I just bring that up for council's consideration.
Okay, number 4.
Number 4, chief?
Number 4, it's a radio channel communication enhancement. What that is we have a lot of dead spots in the city. Elm Street, Y Street, there's places in Walnut that the officers can't get out, communicate on the radio, or vice versa. Another example is if I'm inside, an officer's inside the office here, they can't get out on the radio. They can't call dispatch, they can hear them, but it becomes a safety issue. So that's the reason why I'm putting in for that, so we can get that fixed, and that will eliminate all that, those dead spots that we've had for years, actually.
And
Okay.
I want to bring council up to speed there. The first capital request from the police department had 12 walkie-talkies in it, if you recall. We pulled those out because he's going to reallocate those to that Stone Garden.
Yeah.
That Stone Garden money. So we had that conversation yesterday, so we pulled those out.
Chief, thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Okay, now we can jump to the other.
So did you, hearing what the chief said, my recommendation would pull number 3 out of there and fund that with that grant that
Yeah.
you're bringing forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then leave the other 3 in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you copy that, Pat? Did I lose you, Pat?
No, it helps if I unmute my mic.
I know it's hard. So on the police capital, we're taking number 3 out.
Yes, I have that. I zeroed 3 out. It looks like the number 1 was yes,
Correct.
and then number 4 is still in there. It's presented, but it's not approved at this point.
So number 1, 2, and 4 are all yeses.
Oh, okay.
Did I say that right?
Yes.
Yes.
For Parks and Recreation.
And 4 are all yeses.
Right.
Okay.
Parks and Rec.
Okay. Parks and Rec, we have, lighting for Fletcher Park, 300,000, roof replacement for the Recreation Center, 81,250. Play structure, Anza Park, I don't even wanna butcher these names here. 93,000, and that's 40% grant match, as is the next one with the parks, 39,323. Is 60% of the cost, 40% will be grant match. Then there's the bleachers for the parks, and then the heater for the pool, totaling Parks and Recreation at $639,820 for fiscal year 21. But the total project cost is $728,095. That includes the grant matches.
John, or Mr. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead,
Question
Councilman.
here. Are all these things are we getting 3 bids on them? I mean, because just looking at it, to me, I don't know, when was the last time the lights for the lighting for Fletcher Park was put in? Was that put in a couple of years ago, or 4 years ago, when they were gonna be having those baseball games there?
As far as I know, these are for Fletcher 2, which, I don't know, you put myself. Fletcher 1 was the one that got designed.
There's Marcel.
Marcel, go ahead.
Mayor, members of the council, Fletcher Park number 1 that's probably some of the original Musco lights, and that's a whole Musco lighting system, and that's mainly the lighting system that we have for all of our parks. I'm gonna guess those are probably we're probably nearing 15, 20 years on those. Fletcher Park number 2, that park design, especially the lighting system, was all built by the community. I don't know how long ago, well before I even came on in 2001. Those poles were kind of piecemeal together. They're all different sizes. Yes, we did change out those light fixtures, but that whole lighting system is probably our oldest and probably most energy draining lighting system that we have.
got at least 2 or 3 bids on the lighting there or not?
Musco System is an exclusive. They're probably the premier lighting system around the nation. We can get additional quotes, but it's very tough to compare apples with apples. We are proposing a full LED system. Their LED system is tops to any other competitor. We get references from many of their clients, and there's no other LED lighting system out there that compares to their technology.
And this includes the new poles too, so they'll all be the same, or?
It'll be brand new poles, the installation, a new electrical service, and a 25-year no service warranty to the city.
All right, thank you, Marcel.
Welcome.
Marcel, is there any way to get these through grants from Little League and stuff like that? I never looked, but.
I'm not sure if Little League can apply for grants that might help offset some of the costs for these lighting systems, but I don't know of of grants that are available by the Musco lighting system.
The Diamondbacks do it. They did it in Douglas.
Yeah, I know Diamondbacks do, but they do the whole field. They do the new field. We've bid for those, but haven't been selected.
Did they do the lighting for Damon's Park? Diamondbacks? Diamondback grant or no?
For what?
For Damon's Park?
No.
No? They didn't do it? I think they requested it. Wow, I don't know. I haven't been up there in years.
Marcel, is this 300,000 for both parks, 1 and 2?
No, it would be just for number 2, the one on the back side of Fletcher Park.
Marcel, this is John. So if they fund number 1, does those free up those lights that are there? Was that the idea to move those lights over to Pearson?
Yes, that's correct. Those lights would work very well over at Pearson.
Right.
Obviously, there would have to be some new poles purchased for that lighting system at Pearson. We would not recommend using those same old poles that we have there. But yes, and I think we would even have some left over for lighting of potential other projects that we've talked about into the future.
So what that means, Mayor and Council, that if we decide to fund the lighting at Fletcher's Park, in addition to purchasing new lights for that park, it frees up those lights for potential using around Pearson. It doesn't look like we have a capital for buying new poles, but it does free up the light for a future capital expense. I'm thinking of putting it around Pearson. And I'd also like to point out to you that items 3 and 4, this year's expenditure is leveraging grant money.
Mm-hmm.
So you have that in mind as you make your decision going forward.
And Marcel, the number 5, the bleachers, where do they go?
Those are we're going to be earmarked for the Little League field. If you haven't been to the Little League field in recent years, but those are not ADA compliant. The overhead structure or shade structure that they have, I think, was put on back in the days when Councilman Barona was there.
Ooh!
Play?
Did it rain back then?
Was he playing?
Anyway, they're just old, and we can reuse them.
Did we have monsoon seasons back then?
And I've been sitting quietly.
Yes, sir.
Marcel, you were doing so well today.
Keep going, and enjoy the conversation.
Marcel, the only disappointment I have here that you didn't include the dog park. And I know you said it's $15,000 for más o menos to get it done.
Well, we can put it in right now.
Yeah,
that we're taking that, there.
It's actually.
No, don't start there. Oh, start there. Yes.
Marcel, also on the heater for the pool, $57,000 for the heater?
Yes, we had that heater, we had a couple of pool companies come out and just take a look at them, at the one we have here. Just to get a estimate to try to repair it, but apparently this heater is so old that there aren't parts available to fix it anymore. So that would be an entire new heater. But that request comes from, I want to say a dozen people that are lap swimmers who like to swim year round. That's the reason for me putting it down on the bottom of my list as far as a priority. I think it would be more a luxury or a want as opposed to a need at this point in time, because I believe we would need to invest a pool cover or cover that area, because to just kind of heat the water and not try to insulate it somehow or keep it covered, it's just a waste of energy.
Right.
I have a question.
Yeah, maybe we can remove that and add the dog park for less than the half of it.
Bossy.
¿Verdad, Marcel?
A fifth of it.
Easy, Mayor.
Yeah.
Marcel?
Wait a minute. Could
Oh,
you,
sorry.
let me chance, please. I'm in a roll here. I'm trying to convince Marcel. Marcel, the heater, number 6, that, like you said, it's still, like you put it number 6, it's not really one of your top ones, but I know the rest of them, I know we do need everything else. And you said that the dog park, it would be 7,015 if you, or 14 if you did both of them, or something like that yesterday?
So we got a quote for a section of fence.
Yes.
2 entrances, separate entrances, for 100 by 100 area. And that was close to $7,500.
Okay.
If we split that same area in half to have 2 dog parks, one for large dogs and one for small dogs, that adds another $2,000 to that amount. We're right at about $10,000 for a dog park.
Oh, good. You know what, members of the council and Marcel, if it's okay with, I would remove the heater for the pool and add $15,000, and this way we can maybe have some something else to put in the park, like some trees or something like that, full-grown trees and some type of landscape. Even though the landscape there at the where the location is at, it's already there. But I mean, how's that, Marcel? Would that work out?
That works, and just so everybody's clear, the area that we're contemplating for the dog park is the Metal Gear Hills
Yes.
area.
So it's perfect. Members of the council, how do you guys feel?
Let's take a vote. Let's take a vote.
Okay, let's vote. You want to swim laps in a heated pool, or are you going to walk the dog?
What's your motion?
Oh, the motion is to fund $15,000 for the dog park
And eliminate.
and eliminate, let me see how it's placed, the heater. Heater
Number 6.
for the pool recreation.
So Mayor,
Second.
Are you funding 1 through 6 and replacing 6? with
Replacing
dog
6,
park?
yes.
Funding 1 through 6, that's what.
1 through 6, yeah, but changing it to a dog park.
Adding the dog park.
But we haven't come to consensus.
Yes.
Right, I'm just understanding what you guys are voting on.
We're just voting on number 6.
Only
Yes.
on number 6?
Only on
1
number
through
6.
6?
No,
Change number 6.
Just number 6.
all right,
Second.
second.
Yeah.
Discussion.
Question.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, now,
Motion to
To-
accept the Parks and Recreation numbers 1 through 5 as presented.
Second.
and
Second.
motion. Listos.
I had a question.
I know, we haven't finished yet. Oh, was there something else you wanted?
Yes,
Oh, wait a minute, discussion, go for it.
Yeah, Marcel, remember I asked you if it was possible to have some restrooms at Western Park and the skate park? People has been asking for restrooms, at least porta potties. Was that gonna be possible or not?
Well, how do we answer that one? I know we've looked into, public restrooms at Western Avenue Park or Camp Little. Years ago, when that park was first constructed, the only place you could put that restroom would be right in the middle of one of the small open space green areas. Would be just east of probably the last little Nogales. That would be the only place that you could put a public restroom in. At the time, it was believed that that was just going to take away from the cosmetically not look good on that park. It just was not going to work out. We haven't looked into restrooms there at the skate park. They have Memorial Park when it is open. They have Little League Field when it's open. I don't think we want to get into, or at least it would be my recommendation, to continually put porta potties there because we end up having other departments needing to maintain those on a daily, weekly basis. I think the ones we have are used for our special events and for our particular purposes as we need them if we're out on the field. But that's as best as I can answer that question for you.
Can I make something?
Yes, go ahead, Councilman.
Thank you. Mr. Bachelier, could you just, when you have a little chance, get a hold of Eddie John at the Monsignor Duval Center there, Community Center, and see if we can put up a sign where the kids can walk across the street there and use the bathrooms there. That building is supposed to be a community project or so, but see if you can work out something, at least so that there's bathrooms accessible for the kids there.
I will reach out to Mr. Jung. My only concern would be is directing kids to cross the street at that point.
Well, there's a crosswalk there for all the kids that.
Right in front of that building?
No, it's not in front of the building. They just walk at the end of the park there where the canopy is at, and that the crosswalk is where the cultural center is, to walk across to the Circle K. Then they can go down there.
Okay. I will have a conversation with Mr. Jung.
I don't know if it'll work out,
Yeah.
but I'm just.
But you know, Marcel, maybe you can take it into consideration, and maybe, or, you know, even though we might not go through this right now, but see what it would cost, you know, down the line to install a bathroom at Camp Little or at the skate park. I remember when we built the ones for the chamber at Keno Park, we did it in-house. Our guys at Public Works did the structure and our plumbers did the plumbing for it, and we only used materials basically to do it, and it's handicap accessible. So, you know, we could do it that way, so we won't have to hire a company to do it in-house, and maybe we could, you know, come down the road next year or something, talk about it and see if we can find a way how to fund it or something. All right, Marcel?
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good idea. Okay, now where do we go? Now we go to the dog park? Are we there already?
That's the motion there.
No, the motion was to remove the thing.
And add it up.
Okay, did we do that motion?
Yes.
We did?
Yes, you did, sir.
Okay, then.
Now we're
I
voting
can
on
hear
the-
the dogs barking outside City Hall. They're very happy. Okay,
Voting on the other items.
okay.
Did we vote, Letty, on that motion?
No, we have to vote on the whole thing?
1 to 5.
1 through 5. We voted on 1 through 5.
Okay,
you
that's
did.
what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, Letty, did we, how about number 6?
We did have that too.
You did it when you did the dog park.
Okay. Okay, then we're set. We're set.
Excuse me, Pat, how much is the dog park?
15.
15,000.
So, that, we're replacing number 6 for a dog park funded at 15,000. And we're funding 1 through 5 at the funding rate that's indicated. I don't think that
Okay,
voted on.
I got that. And just so council knows, I'm kind of keeping a running total.
Right.
So we just
And
saved,
you have available in vacancy savings, the, 881,406. And right now, you're at 758,553 before we're considering, but it's really 578,553 counting the Little League and the ASYO. You're at 778,000 out of 866, and we haven't looked at facility building improvements yet, planning and zoning. So once we hit that 881,406, then that means that you're cutting into your fund balance. I just want to remind council of that.
Pat,
Yes.
what is the difference between what we have allocated and what the expenditure is? What's the difference there right now? How much?
I'm saying that your vacancy savings were 881,406.
Okay, and
78.
how much have we committed?
778,553.
So what's the difference? 100 and some thousand?
78.
102,853.
Okay, so Mayor, here we go again. See? Mr. Massey, he said for you to tell
What
him.
happened, Mr. Messi?
Mr. Vice Mayor? If
Go ahead.
I just make a suggestion. There's $102,000 that are left. We don't need to go into a dialogue and penny ante it. Give the $102,000 to Mr. Kissinger. Let him work out the $102,000
Second.
and expenditures.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm shocked. I need to think about this. How much time can I take?
No, we're ready to go.
Oh,
I gotta make my 5 o'clock news.
oh my God.
Yeah, it's a good
I
idea.
gotta find out what Trump's about.
But we don't need a full quorum here to make this decision. You can continue.
Mr. Kissinger, we already agreed for you to make the decision. If there's some reason that you can't do it, tell us and then we can leave.
No, absolutely. I
Okay,
just figured
then.
you might want to weigh in.
No,
I
well,
can
there's
stay.
nothing for us. There's only $102,000 left. You can make it.
I
You
can
don't need.
stay, I can stay.
Ah, you know, let's go.
Okay. I make a motion, Vice Mayor, to the balance of the $102,000.
Pat? She's wrong. We have 866 and we spent 778.
So what's the balance?
88.
We have
They say that the balance is 88,000 here, Pat. Is
No, 72.
Well, then let's go through and talk what the numbers are. Because I'm showing that, that, police is 51,258, correct?
correct?
Then we have fire, which is 73,000,
Yes,
correct?
Correct.
yes.
Then we have parks and rec, that's 597,295.
Did we skip library?
It's 102.
37 library.
I'm sorry, library was the 37.
Correct.
The parks and rec was 597,295. Make sure that it's taking everything into consideration here. When you add all those up that I just read off, that is
78.
758,553. But then you also added another 20,000 for the Nogales Little League and ASYO. That made it the 778,553.
So
So
we're
take
about
881,406 minus 778,553, that's how you get the 102,853.
Yeah.
81?
881
So we have 102 left, and we have requests for
176.
778,553.
so
That is what
what?
we funded. We
Right.
still have requests of facility and improvement of 176.
And 27.
And planning and zoning at 27.
Right. So we only have roughly half the funds to do the rest of this.
102. Okay. Mayor,
Right.
Yes.
You left again and I was talking to you and you
Yeah.
were outside there. Don't do that.
I know.
Mr. Messi.
Good.
I
There
have
you go.
And Mr. Massey didn't say one word. He sat there.
I said shh.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion?
Yes.
I make a motion that the balance of the allocated funds in the amount of $102,000, that the decision be left to the acting city manager on how to distribute those funds among facilities and building, planning and zoning.
Okay.
Second.
I make the motion that I will only vote for yes on that if Councilman Verona is gonna go see the Trump rally.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, that's gonna be a hard motion. I don't know if you're gonna get a second on that.
That's what he told me he was
Okay.
gonna do. We'll watch TV and watch the
Okay,
Trump.
so, all in favor?
Discussion.
Oh, is there a discussion?
Well, there might be.
Is there-
No.
You heard the discussion.
Okay, we're ready.
Call for
He said
question.
Trump rally, you know.
You get Trump around.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay.
Can I
Sure,
point
Pat.
out one more thing before you leave?
Yeah.
I am assuming that I'm taking that, as I showed on that slide, the 2.6 million, I'm putting aside for the PSPRS
Yes,
support and the ASRS.
absolutely.
And does council want an appropriation for that to pay that off early to the PSPRS?
I didn't catch the latter part of your statement, Pat.
Do you want me to actually make an appropriation so that we could pay PSPRS off, that 2.6 million early and maybe save some funds? We've got to do
Yes.
some more work on it, but I would like to appropriate that then, so we
Yes.
have the opportunity.
If you can, if we can do it and pay it off earlier, and have some savings for us, that would be
Perfect.
perfect. That would be very businesslike. Yes.
Mr. Master, what do you
Concur.
think?
Okay.
Well?
Thank you for your
Very
help.
well there.
Yes. Thank you much.
Thank you, Pat.
Very well.
Yes,
Call 911.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then we'll see you
Well,
Tuesday.
It's interesting. I can't wait till we all sit up on the dais again.
Thank you.
Pat, they went ahead and adjourned the meeting. I'll give you a call right now, we'll figure out the rest of this.
Tuesday, 2 p.m.
Thank you, directors.
What's the tentative?
Next
to
Tuesday,
adopt
we got
the
two.
¿Dónde vas, Messi?
Wait.
Yo.
Tienes que firmar esto. Estás agarrando onda.